There's a tiny, familiar scene you know without thinking. You check your phone again, glance at the door, shift in your seat, and tell yourself the small, private truth: they're late again. It's the kind of moment that feels almost too ordinary to investigate, until you notice it repeating, until the sighs and smiles and tightened chests map out a pattern. Lateness, the story goes on to teach, isn't really about clocks. It's a mirror held up to the way someone moves through the world, to fear, hope, avoidance, and the internal rhythms that tick at odds with everyone else's. Imagine mornings for someone who lives inside that different tempo. The day begins, not with a strict countdown but with intention. I'll be fine, they tell themselves. They start getting ready, distracted by a message, a memory, a task they swore they'd finish yesterday. Each interruption is met with optimism, a belief that one more email, one more little fix, will take only a minute. But those minutes pile up. Their brain plans by possibility, not probability. They measure time by desire rather than by what actually happens. Psychologists label this emotional miscalculation, and it explains why hope, for these people, frequently slips into lateness. There's more than optimism at play. For many, the problem lives in transitions, the invisible work of moving from one emotional state to another, leaving something comforting, starting something new, stepping into pressure. Each shift is an invisible negotiation that demands mental energy. When every small transition feels like a negotiation, seconds swell into minutes, and minutes become a signature. Always late. Other times, lateness is a soft defense. Walk-in anxiety, fear of awkwardness, or a need for extra breathing room before facing people or performance. Time becomes a buffer. The delay is not disrespect, it is protection. Perfectionism hides behind many delayed doors: a final tweak, a last touch, the desire to arrive prepared and presentable. These are acts of care that cost punctuality. Dreamers lose track of clocks because their minds are louder than the walls that hold time. Those overloaded with responsibilities slip behind because their day is a juggling act. Time is the casualty of trying to hold everything up at once. In households where schedules were suggestions rather than rules, adults inherit a soft, elastic sense of time, and for a quieter few, lateness becomes an unspoken rebellion, a gentle way of reclaiming autonomy in a life that felt overly controlled. What's striking is how misunderstood this behavior can feel. Waiting feels personal. Time given and taken back feels like a small broken promise. Yet beneath every apology there is guilt and exhaustion, and an often hidden reliability. People who run late are frequently dependable in deeper ways. They remember birthdays, sit with friends through long nights, and show up emotionally even when the clock says otherwise. The problem isn't values, it's the mismatch between inner rhythm and external expectation. Change starts not with alarms, but with understanding. When someone stops blaming willpower and begins mapping the stories they tell themselves about future time, about perfection, about how transitions weigh on them, compassion opens a door. Awareness lets them plan not from naive hope but from honest appraisal. I need more time than I think. Small shifts accumulate. Preparing earlier becomes an act of kindness to the future self. Adjusting expectations becomes a new habit rather than a forced discipline. Slowly, arriving on time becomes less a test of strength and more an alignment with one's emotional truth. If you recognize someone in this story, whether you are the one who arrives breathless or the one who's counted the minutes waiting, remember the deeper shape of lateness, not a flaw to punish, but a signal to understand. Ask what they need and ask yourself what you can forgive. Because when someone learns to move with their time rather than against it, what changes isn't only the clock, it's how they see themselves and how they let others see them. If this resonated, tell me which part felt most true to you. The optimism, the perfectionism, the overwhelm, or something else. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more stories that unpack the quiet patterns of human behavior.